Welcome everyone to the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley. This is the program for this week's meeting, and we are excited to have you because we have a wonderful story to share with you today. Our speaker is Julie Matsushima. She has been a member of the Rotary Club of San Jose for a number of years. She was one of the first 10 women to join the club when the club integrated in the early 90s. She was also the president of the club in 2008-2009, and it was she who spearheaded an effort that you're going to get to hear about today that I think you'll find very exciting. And so with that, I will hand it over to you. Julie, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Rushton. It's my pleasure to be here today, and I'm very excited to tell my story and my inspiration about the Rotary PlayGarden. And thank you again for the opportunity to speak to your club. I'm really delighted to do so. So let me begin with my story. Amy, my granddaughter, has incredible character, and in the face of all her disabilities, she was really my inspiration to share with others and to educate others and to be the inspiration behind the Rotary PlayGarden. My granddaughters, Amy and Chloe, identical twins, were born in 1997. Amy was born with massive brain damage and cerebral palsy and wasn't expected to live more than a couple of days. It was really heartbreaking, and the family was very devastated. But I decided to go see her the next day, and when I first held her and observed her, I really felt something different in her. I felt a real desire that she wanted to live and she wanted to be part of a being and part of the world. And we bonded at that moment, and I really felt her energy. And at that moment, really impacted my life forever, I believe. And it was all about love. I just was so thrilled to be a grandmother. And although the situation cast a really dark shadow on this happiest of moments, I made a personal commitment right then and there that I would learn all I could and do all I could to help with Amy's disabilities. We were told that she was blind and deaf. She would never walk, she would never talk, and if she even lived past the weekend, she definitely wouldn't live past the first year. So our journey has been filled with many joys and heartaches and many rewards and many challenges. And although being an advocate for children with special needs is really not the path I chose, but it has really enriched my life. So my book, Our Story, For the Love of Amy, is not only about our travels and therapy and what happens to us when we go to Europe for therapy, but it's a story of what happens to the families of children with special needs and the challenges that the entire family, as well as the child with a disability, has to face every single day. So I hope you'll take the opportunity to read the story, but I want to say that my experience with Amy and other children like her really brought me to the sad reality that there's so many inequities and barriers for children and families with disabilities. And that's what brings us to the PlayGarden. So Amy and Chloe really experienced firsthand unequal play, I will say. The twins, what you see here, are now 17, and they love being together, but have always led very separate and different lives. When they were young and we took them to the park, one barrier became very obvious very quickly. And that was the barrier that while Chloe was playing and having a great time on the playground, one of us grandparents, my husband or myself, had to sit with Amy outside the playground while all she could do was watch all the other children play and have a good time. It was impossible to even access the playground surface because with tan bark, it was impossible to push the wheelchair into the playground area. And there was nothing she could do. It was really sad and really heartbreaking. So I realized that children like Amy needed a voice, and I thought and knew I could be that voice. So I started out by meeting with the Parks Department in San Jose, and soon after pointing out the inequities at the playground, they asked me to serve on the Parks Commission, which I did for 6 years. And I raised disability issues every opportunity I could. So everything that came before the commission, I brought up what was the disability accessibility they were going to provide. It was evident that something needed to be done, and I was really on a mission to educate as many people as I interacted with on a daily basis about the need for equal play in our community. Here's a photo of Amy in an adaptive swing, and I had a dream about a play garden, and was started by implementing a bit of that dream during my year as president in 2008 of our San Jose Rotary Club. I found another opportunity to educate others about children with special needs, and that was to do a project where we donated 29 of these adaptive swings to be installed all around the city, and the Parks Department would take care of the surfacing and install the swings. It was the beginning of an introduction to making play available to children with special needs, but it still wasn't enough. So during that year, I raised awareness about children with special needs. We needed a playground that welcomed all children and adults, regardless of their abilities or disability. We needed somewhere where they could play side by side. I envisioned a park that would consider all the disabilities: mobility, sensory, hearing, sight impairments, and autism in the design. In 2009, after my Rotary year as president, the Rotary Club of San Jose was making plans for a project to celebrate their 100-year anniversary. The club ultimately chose to build an equal play park for its Centennial Legacy project as a gift to the city of San Jose. The design committee selected PGA landscape architects in Oakland because they immediately understood the concept and the vision that we had in mind. And they really came through with their state-of-the-art designs. The process was very complex and more complicated than we thought. It would take 6 years to complete and over $6 million to build, and involve the hard work and commitment of hundreds of devoted individuals, Rotarians, and businesses to make our play garden a reality. The ribbon cutting ceremony took place on February 21st of this year, when the key to the play garden was turned over to the city of San Jose, where it will be managed and maintained by the Guadalupe River Park Conservancy, which is located on the adjacent site to the play garden. Children, especially those in wheelchairs and children with disabilities, eagerly awaited for the park to open. They had never been able to access a playground and we're eager for the fun to begin. The Rotary PlayGarden gates are the first, the Rotary PlayGarden gates are the entrance to the first PlayGarden of its kind in the Bay Area. It's a place that will embrace and welcome all children and their families, regardless of abilities, to play side by side in a beautiful and safe setting. Families with children with special needs and able-bodied children really cannot enjoy going to a playground together because the family has to be divided and it becomes very complicated. So having this beautiful PlayGarden is a joy, and the green gates open to invite everyone through a walkway. It's kind of a tunnel as they pass the donor wall on the right, acknowledging all our donors, and a Rotary history wall on the left, acknowledging 100 years of service from our club here in the city of San Jose. Here's an overview shot of the PlayGarden. The accessible surfacing and paths are featured throughout the park, where the focus is on accessibility, not disability. Perimeter fencing around the entire play area make it safe for all. Paths, walkways, picnic tables, and an amphitheater, which are really not shown here but are there, will provide accessibility for all to participate in events, activities, and celebrations. Here's another overview of the plan. The design reflects the surrounding elements of nature and flight. The surface painted waterway that you see in the center of your screen flows from the globe, which is a water feature highlighting sand and water play, but is the actual underground water table as seen from an aerial map. Elements of flight and nature are highlighted throughout the PlayGarden. Custom designed interactive kinetic elements stand tall at the entrance to the park and encourage children to learn about wind and flight. Concrete airplane seats in a tilt-back position are installed at the top of the berm and provide seating for those who want to watch airplanes on their descent into San Jose Airport. Large embankment slides built out of concrete are located on one side of the berm and are extremely fast and fun for children and adults. Why concrete, you might ask? It's because hearing impaired children with cochlear implants cannot slide on plastic or metal. So this was just one feature of making the park really accessible for all disabilities. A climbing wall with ramps, steps, and lawn all lead back up to the top of the berm and the top of the slides. Large tree planters throughout the PlayGarden area were selected for planting of sensory-specific plants like soft, scented, furry, spiky, and each planter has a different type of plants that addresses a different sensory need. This is a spider piece of equipment. It bounces and the kids could climb and have fun. As you can see, it's fun for all children. It also provides therapy in terms of balance. And not shown to the right of this is a teeter-totter that can also be fun and therapeutic as well and provide balance and movement for those children with those needs. The climbing, rocking, and spinning tree is another opportunity to play side by side. There's a small entrance on the other side of it with a child in a walker could crawl inside as well. all these pieces of equipment were selected for multiple uses, and many of them came from Germany. This is a favorite of everyone's. It's a carousel that is accessible for wheelchairs, and it, as you can see, two wheelchairs can face back to back, and they can be pushed around, and just fun for everyone that's on it. Here's a picture of Amy enjoying the carousel. She was having a great time. She met lots of new friends and kids she didn't know, but they all took joy and pleasure in pushing her and having her smile and laugh and scream in the process. This is a bank of a variety of swings. It consists of an adaptive swing way off there in the distance, as you can see. There's a baby swing, there's regular strap swings, and right here in the forefront are two swings that are a dual pump swing. So one child could sit in the swing to the left and actually pump both swings. So if a child is unable to pump their own swing, their friend, or sibling, or parent can sit in the other swing and make both swings go. And the kids really seem to enjoy this. The disc swing is another play element that's fun for everyone, but that offers specific therapeutic benefits for children with spatial and balance needs. So all of these pieces of equipment are terrific fun, but if a parent goes to the park and they have a child with a disability, they will know exactly what pieces of equipment are accessible and beneficial to their child while still being able to play with other children in the process. Excuse me. There are animal figurines in the park, and they're very large three-dimensional figures, and they represent the animals that live along the river and part of the habitat there. And they're depicted throughout the park. Some animals are three-dimensional like this, and some are done in relief on the waterway, walkways, on the walls, and depict many of the fish and birds and animals, again, in flight and in the water. So it's an educational process as well to learn about the animals and nature and flight. Here's another picture of the carousel with adults also involved, and everyone can play together. That's really the beauty of all this equipment. And what better way to educate each other about having fun together than simply doing it and seeing the joy on all the faces playing together. And here's a photo of my three grandchildren, Jeffrey, Chloe, and Amy. And Amy and Chloe, of course, are the twins. And this is the first time they were really ever able to play together in a playground. And the Rotary PlayGarden, at last, a place where families can really experience the joy of playing together. Here's some information about the PlayGarden. We all have a story, and we all have a voice. And no one can do this kind of project alone, but we all can inspire others to follow our example. When we work together, anything is possible to make a difference toward a better world and a better community. Thank you very much, and please feel free to ask any questions you might have or things you would like to know. Thank you.
That's so Shaggy, awesome. Oh, Julie, what a wonderful program. The opportunity to see something like that come together is just fantastic. It's my hope that that the guests that will watch this program, in addition to our members who are all over the world, will kind of look at this and be inspired to make something like this happen in their communities as well. So as a first question, are there other accessible playgrounds in the Bay Area that you know of?
Well, there is one other, and it's the newly opened Magical Bridge Playground in Palo Alto. And they have a couple of pieces of similar equipment there. One of our Rotarians in our club worked with them in designing some of their features. And although we had our ribbon cutting and opened, I believe they opened a week or two ago, and they're located, I believe it's Mitchell Park in Palo Alto. So our goal is to have many of these playgrounds and parks pop up throughout the Bay Area, because there's so many children and families in need. And the closer they are to a family, to go down to the park on Saturday morning and have donuts and coffee and play together and watch your children have fun with others, is what it's all about.
Very, very cool. Let's see if we've got some questions. We have with us, in addition to our presenter, Julie, and me, Rushton Hurley, we have our membership chair and board member, Shag Shagrin, all right, and also Mitty Chang, who is also a board member and our webmaster. And so, Shags, do you have a comment or a question for Julie?
Just a comment. That's an amazing undertaking. So kudos. And
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing it live and in person one day.
Yeah, I'm thinking that an opportunity for a group of us maybe to get together, just have like a social picnic or something like that, and go down and take a look at the PlayGarden would be a cool idea. Mitty, how about you?
Host you all on a personal tour and explain the equipment and meet up with you there.
That would be awesome. Mitty, if you have a comment or question, we can go ahead. We just have to do the meeting.
Things are going to work out. Okay. So, Julie, that was a great presentation. And I guess one quick question is, so how do you maintain the park? I know that the city probably is the one that's responsible for maintaining it. Are you guys planning as a Rotary Club to kind of maybe going back and kind of doing upgrades on an annual or triannual basis or anything like that? Are there like future plans to kind of update the park? All right, that's my question. Hold on really quick. I gotta remute everything.
Okay, great question. First of all, the contract with the city is that the park has been turned over to the city, and it is their park. But the Guadalupe River Park and Conservancy is operated by a nonprofit, and they oversee that large park that goes through downtown. And they have contracted with the city to maintain the PlayGarden. So although Rotary built the park and gifted the park, we are not responsible for the maintenance. And the city, because of their funding, is also not taking on that part of it. But Guadalupe River Park and Gardens will do the maintenance. Some of the disability groups with young adults in the area will also it will create some jobs for some of those young adults who will help do the maintenance, and then there will be a core of volunteer groups. As far as Rotary, we will stay engaged, participating in oversight and activities, and I believe that our club, with our foundation going forward, will probably add more equipment or possibly more picnic areas. Once the park grows in and the trees fill out, there will be opportunity to perhaps do some additional projects, but those will unfold as they come. But we will definitely be involved in the oversight. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes,
Cool.
thank
Shags,
you.
you got a comment.
I do have a question, and it's only because we live in a world full of people who don't have regard for
I can't
others.
hear his question.
So how is the security at Magna
Oh,
Park
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
to avoid vandalism and destruction? We hate to think about that, but I know it happens.
That has been a very large concern, big concern of our club and the city going forward. I believe I mentioned the fence, but there's a large, I think it's 8 feet or 10-foot fence all around the perimeter of the PlayGarden. And it is located inside another park, so it's not a standalone. It will be gated off and closed every night, and there will be a ranger that will be there who is always on the premises. Also, the Guadalupe River Park and Gardens has received a grant, and they will have a person there at the park in the playground area every day to answer questions and assist and provide assistance to parents who might need help with their children. And so there will be an individual on the premises every day, and if not every day, close to every day. And then the police department will be checking on the PlayGarden every evening. It's part of their commitment to ensure that we keep vandals out, and hopefully that doesn't happen. But it has been a big concern because it's a huge investment, and we really want to see that the children are safe and that the park remains safe and that we are able to keep it safe and keep that maintenance going.
Are the security cameras recording activity?
We will have lights. There are lights all around the PlayGarden that will be on in the evening. I'm not sure that there are cameras, but there are cameras at the entrance to the into the playground parking area. That I do know, but I don't know about the actual PlayGarden. It's a good question. I'll have to follow up on that and see what I can find out.
Well, it is amazing just how much planning has gone into the project. You know, when you talk about a $6 million project, and you know, that's just so impressive that the Rotary Club of San Jose was able to spearhead this. But I know you had dozens and dozens of people and companies and organizations kick in to help make it happen as well. And you know, just that sense of, okay, are we looking for every last piece of this? You know, like looking at Shags' question about security and that kind of thing. It's beautiful to see, you know, such a focus on making it work for the long haul. So that is such a wonderful story. I think this is an incredible point of pride for the city of San Jose, and I hope it'll be a part of kind of what we see, you know, even like when we're flying into the airport, you know, that the images of the PlayGarden will be there, so people will understand that, you know, that San Jose is a community that has made this happen.
Right. One of the things that we're planning to add will be, and we are working with the airport right now, is to have from the airplane seats that are up at the top of the berm, and I didn't have a photograph of them in the slide, but we're trying to do some kind of interactive auditory communication either with the airplanes or with the tower as the planes are flying over. We also have a brochure that identifies a variety of different airplane types, so kids could have fun identifying the airplanes, and we'll probably have some interactive treasure hunts or games that will involve identifying the planes and how many planes. I'm not sure. It's being worked on. But yes, the process to bring the park to reality, it's immense and incredible, because at the very beginning, we had meetings with the FAA because they control the land under the flight pattern, under the flight path. and then the city owns the land. So we had several years and a variety of lawyers in our club that worked on the contract with the city. And then once our developer became involved, of course, the pay, prevailing wage was part of the contract, having in-kind donations, insurance, liability, maintenance. I mean, it went on, and it took years to really work on bringing that contract to fruition, while still working on a parallel path to bringing looking at all the disabilities, doing outreach to the disability community, and working with the landscape designers to ensure that we really made it an equal play park where able-bodied children would love to come there and play, and then while still serving all those children with disabilities and adults and grandparents with disabilities as well who want to bring their children to the park and play. So it's accessible for them as well.
It's clearly a place from all of the wonderful pictures that you shared that this is going to be something special for families of all descriptions. And so huge kudos to you and the San Jose Rotary Club for all the work you've done. To wind things down for us, because we're about that time, I want to thank you again, Julie, for taking your time to join us and to present to the eClub of Silicon Valley and our members and guests all over the world. Nicely done. Nicely done. All right. And a quick thank you to our treasurer, Alan, who managed to join in as well. He was driving probably at quite the pace in order to be able to join in. So awesome having you there as well, Alan. Thanks again, Mitty. Thanks again, Shags. All of you who have been taking this in, you are finishing up this meeting of the Rotary eClub of Silicon Valley, siliconvalleyrotary.com, and we would love for you to do two things. One is to fill out the I attended survey, which is just down the posting as part of the meeting, and that lets members, that lets us know that you attended, and guests, that also will generate an email, if you put in your email address properly, that you can then share with your secretary as a makeup for a missed meeting. Finally, there is an area down at the bottom in the Discuss system, DISQUS, and that is built so that we can exchange ideas about the things that get presented as a part of our programs and meetings, and we very much hope that you will leave some kind of a comment. If for any reason you'd prefer not to, you can always email me, president@siliconvalleyrotary.com, your comments, and I'll get them into next week's meeting as well. But with that, we want to thank everybody for taking part, and we look forward to seeing you next week here at siliconvalleyrotary.com.